I was about to cough, but I think we're live. All right.
It's bad timing.
I seriously have the worst timing of all time. I am Josue Crimz Rojano here with Kyle Pooka Sucevich, and we are here in the grand finals of the Top Cut Invitational in 2013.
Yeah, this was an awesome tournament. Unfortunately, it was a little bit rushed because we have some time constraints here. They actually shut down this place at midnight, so we had to really get this moving. But that doesn't make this finals any less epic. We're going to have a rematch of the U.S. National Championships between Ryan Sabelhaus and Edmund Kuras.
Yeah, when we were picking these 8 players, we said we were going to try to come up with some cool storylines. And when we picked Edmund Kuras, we said, well, who would make a really good storyline for Edmund that happens to have, you know, a good fan following, that happens to be a very well-known player in the game. And obviously, the first person that came to mind happened to be his finals opponent at U.S. Nationals, Ryan Sabelhaus. So we couldn't have scripted this better ourselves. Honestly, we really couldn't have. And I'm excited to see if we can get a rematch here between these two players and see if maybe this time Ryan has something in store for him.
Yeah, it's a completely different matchup, actually. I mean, Ryan, of course, played Plasma at U.S. Nationals. Edmund played Gothitelic Selgor, which is kind of a one-sided matchup at that time. But now they're playing the exact same thing, right? Quasi-electric, even though we got them flip-flopped on both sides. They're both playing the same cards.
Yield Quasi and Rails. So
sounds good.
Yeah, really, these two players made this metagame call. They both expected things like Darkrai. They both expected things like Plasma. They said they wanted to be in reasonable shape against pretty much all of these decks.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, that's pretty much what they faced, with the exception of an Empoleon, I guess. And they're both in the finals. So they both made great deck choices for this short tournament. You can metagame a lot of players, a lot of player styles, because you already know who your 7 other opponents are, and you know you're not going to have any real unknown quantities.
Yeah. Before we really get into this, I really do want to thank all of our sponsors and people who donated to this event. High Tide Games in Maryland, if you're in that area, please check them out, support them. And Legacy Cards, go to legacycardshop.com for all of your card shop needs. They supported us. They provided a lot of the prizes, so thank you to them. Also, just people like Tom Hall and Jonathan Croxton, all these people, Andy Weeman, all these great people from the Pokemon community, they donated prizes for our event. So I just wanted to say thank you to all those people.
You're pretty good at this.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're a natural at advertising, I guess. to put it in nice terms.
That's a good or a bad thing.
So I believe Ryan's actually going to be going first here. He won the coin flip. This is going to be a best 2 out of 3 with a 75-minute time limit. If I...
75 minutes,
yes,
best 2 out of 3.
I am right.
Yes.
All right, I'm not that tired yet. Who knows how bad it'll be by the end of the night. Yeah. Now, Rayquaza Electric mirror match has got to be kind of a crapshoot, no?
Oh, yeah. This is... I don't even know how to put it. And just once both sides get set up, you just kind of trade Rayquazas because they're weak to each other. So all it takes is 2 lightning energy to discard for Dragon Burst, and you just blow up the other person's Rayquaza. And it honestly can just be over in 3 turns because you're just Dragon Bursting each other. At this point, a lot of people have cut the regular Rayquaza that is Shred. That used to be kind of a wrench in the mirror match before since it's a one-prize attacker. But I think both these guys are just playing Rayquaza EX, so it should be interesting.
Now, is there any merit to attacking the opponent's electrics?
In most matchups, you would say, yes, that is the way to beat this deck. You knock out their electrics. But in a mirror match like this, it takes so few energy for Rayquaza EX to knock out an opponent's Rayquaza EX that it actually doesn't work very well. If you can knock out their only eel in play, sure, then you do that. But if they got 2 out there, it's too much of a risk because you're just trading 2 prizes for 1. So, looks like we have a Ducklet hitting the field. This is actually a funny joke that Ryan and Kyle Sabelhaus do on their stream. They do Protect the Prince. It's Ducklet. They put it on their bench, and they have to let it survive the entire game, otherwise they lose.
Wow.
So immediately Ryan went for the win. He catchered out the Ducklet, but looks like he got away.
Now, it's funny that you mentioned Ryan and Kyle's stream because I'm personally a big fan of it. Now, granted, this is for a more mature audience. I do definitely have to mention that. But if you are a more mature audience and you're interested in having some good high energy stream, then I definitely recommend Ryan and Kyle's stream because it's just a riot. It's an absolute riot. And Save the Prince is not something I've actually seen yet, but I can't wait to actually see that. I wonder why they picked Ducklet.
They're a big fan of Ducklet. I mean, what can you say? Now, Ryan has actually gotten an extremely good start here. Triple Dynamo turn 1. That is about as good as you can hope for.
One of them is a Spark Dynamo, actually.
Yeah, it's actually kind of interesting. He also has Tropical Beach in play, so he'll be able to fill his hand up to 7 this turn. But the only thing he could have really asked for more was to get a Rayquaza down with the fire, but I'm sure he'll be happy with this.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, what's Edmund have to do to really keep up here? He's going to have to do a couple of Dynamos. I guess I kind of answered my own question. He's just going to have to kind of mirror Ryan's board here.
Ryan just exploded here. He actually played a Bicycle and got an Ultra Ball off it. So he's going to not only get another Lightning in the discard pile. Oh, he's actually going to go for Raikou EX.
And that was going to be my next question. Okay. How exactly does Raikou play a role in this matchup? Since obviously Raikou can attack with, I believe, Volt Strike is the
Volt
Bolt. My mistake. But Volt Bolt does knock out these electrics with one hit.
It's an interesting strategy because unlike Rayquaza EX, it takes 3 energy to Dragon Burst it for a knockout. This is actually a strategy we saw early on this season in the electric mirror matches when these decks relied on switch. You would end your opponent after catching up that 2 retreat cost electric and then Volt Bolt their bench to try to, lock them up there and take out their bench. But I don't think it's going to be too effective for 2 reasons. First of all is Keldeo and Floatstone. You can rush in and retreat very easily. The second is Edmund actually plays Mr. Mime, so it can block bench damage. We'll have to see, though.
Yeah, that Mr. Mime is going to throw a wrench into Raikou's plans, absolutely. So that means that Ryan is going to be forced to pretty much fill his bench with a final Rayquaza.
Yep. Which he doesn't mind.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess that's not necessarily a bad thing, but that does potentially mess a little bit with your plans.
Yeah. Now, Edmund, he does have 2 Dynamo out. He does have an Ultra Ball in hand. There's an Energy Search as well, so it's actually a pretty old Energy Search.
I can't believe you actually nailed that one. Even I didn't recognize that artwork.
Yeah, he's going to grab a Lightning. I think he's going to use that to Ultra Ball, get another Lightning energy in the discard pile since...
Yeah, that would be smart.
That's how Electric Dynamotor, that's how the ability works. You take Lightning from the discard pile, put it on a bench Pokemon.
Double Lightning into the discard pile. That's exactly what he wants to see here. I believe Ryan has 1 Lightning in his discard pile, or does he have a second?
He has 2, yeah.
Oh, he Ultra Balled the second one. Yeah, You're right.
Both these guys, very explosive starts. So.
Yeah. They're looking like they're going to be going for a pretty fast game regardless of what's going to be going. I expect to see something like a turn 2 attack from one of them.
Yeah, could be.
If not both of them.
This is actually going to be a very big flip coming up here. If Edmund goes for the Thunder Wave, he could paralyze Ryan's Keldeo.
Yeah, that's true. And since he does have a nearly full bench, it's not like Ryan can just bench a Keldeo to rush in and then attack with something like a Rayquaza because he just can't do both.
Right, he definitely doesn't want to do that. So we'll see if Edmund goes for the Thunder Wave or if he has to use Tropical Beach. He may just have to fill his hand up to 7. But
he's debating and he decides the Beach here.
I kind of wanted to see the Thunder Wave.
Yeah, me too. This is a little disappointing. I would have liked to see a Thunder Wave here, but my guess is his hand was definitely not stellar after.
Yeah, and you can't afford to miss a beat in this matchup. Once you guys start attacking each other, this game is over in like 3 turns, just trading EXs. So
yeah, which by the way, this does tell me that if he loses a Dynamo, for example, he doesn't really mind because his opponent still has to knock out 3 EXs.
Right. So interesting. Also, Edmund didn't choose to retreat his Dynamo. Get the Lightning energy off of it. I don't know, maybe get another one in the discard. But he does have 2 in the discard already.
Yeah, so he's not necessarily going to need that 3rd one in the discard. He's probably just going to want to keep that Dynamo active and already have that Lightning on his Pokemon. That way he doesn't have to attach manually onto it and he's going to be able to attach the fire onto his Rayquaza.
Yeah. We see Ryan kind of contemplating his play here. He does have the Float Stone, so he'll be able to retreat for free for sure. He's going to bench the first Rayquaza. This is really dangerous. Like you said, Dynamo only gives up 1 prize, so he could end up, being on the losing end of that EX exchange. If Edmund can just take 2 prizes, he gets to 6 first. But it looks like Ryan has Juniper. He wasn't too confident. Looks like he's trying to pick Dynamos here.
What?
Decides on a Thunderwave one.
Okay.
And he's going to try to hit an electric here.
I would have picked the Spark one. You don't just randomly have a Spark Dynamo that can potentially deal some nasty damage.
Yeah, 10 and 10. That is nasty.
It gets nasty. Let me tell you. After 17 of those attacks,
17 turns later, he's taking 4 prizes.
4 prizes, exactly. You're on the same page as me.
Yeah.
We understand the power of the Spark.
But in general, Thunderwave is a little more intimidating. The paralysis, it probably doesn't make a difference either way which Dynamo he goes for, but the Spark one lives on.
Well, maybe that'll be the cause of Ryan's demise. Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see.
He did get the first attack, but if Edmund can respond here with that Rayquaza EX of his own and get the Dragon Burst knockout, he'll be at 4 prizes, and he'll have a clear advantage in this game.
We make it sound a lot easier than it actually is, because he still needs to have not only a Rayquaza, but a Fire Energy as well, and a couple of electrics.
And 2 electric,
yeah.
And a Float Stone for his
And
Keldeo.
a Float Stone, yes. That is quite a bit, that's quite a bit here. But he does have an electric.
A Makuhita has entered the field and has left immediately. Not sure what's going on there.
If saving the Ducklet was protect the Prince, then that must be like destroy the something. I have no joke.
You're on your own, man.
Man, all right. Look, it's been a long day. I'm out of jokes. I think I was going to say blew my something, but
let's just move on. This is over.
No. Cure him, Alzheimer's. That was my funny joke of the day. That's all I had.
That was it?
That was it, yeah.
All right, you got to work on your material.
I don't have a stand-up comedy in my feature. That's for sure.
We're going to see Kuras for 9 cards here. That is, it's going to give Edmund a lot. If he can hit the Rayquaza, Fire, Electric, Float Stone, he can take the 2 prizes here. But if not, Ryan's going to take a commanding lead here.
There is an Ultra Ball, which means that he's likely going to see either the Electric or the Rayquaza, whichever one he doesn't have.
Yeah.
But that's still a lot of cards that he needs to hit.
Yeah, he does have the Float Stone as well, I believe.
He's trying to evolve the benched Dynamo, which actually just came into play, so hopefully he doesn't do that.
I hope not. But there is the Keldeo Float Stone. There is an Ultra Ball. You could discard 2 cards, search for probably a Rayquaza EX. I don't know if he has the Fire. He may be just that one piece of the puzzle short.
Yeah, I don't see any red cards in his hand, but, we don't have a very good angle, so...
Yeah. He does have a Bicycle, though, so he could dig pretty deep for this. Depending on how desperate he thinks this situation is, he has 2 Ultra Balls in his hand. He could just kind of play everything out and try to hit the Fire and, salvage this situation.
All right, so that... I believe he's only going to really need a Fire Energy off of this. I think that Ultra Ball is going to find him that Rayquaza, and he's already got the Float Stone. He's got the Electric in his hand, which we saw. So just 1 Fire Energy, and we'll be able to see the ideal turn from Edmund. And mind you, I believe this is still turn 2.
Yeah.
Unreal.
This matchup moves along very quickly. Once these guys get Electrics out, these are honestly going to be some quick games, I would think.
I'm glad time won't be an issue here.
Yeah, but it's going to be exciting, that's for sure. They shook hands. I don't know what happened there. They're still going.
Are being silly.
Yeah. These guys are really friendly, actually. They bonded when they played in the finals of U.S. Nationals. Ryan was actually really happy for Edmund when he won. Obviously disappointed, but they got along really well. And I think
they have a little bit of a bromance
friends.
going.
A little bit.
All right. Well, that's cool. So we do see that Rayquaza finally. I guess Edmund was just checking his deck because, it is still only turn 2, and this is, he was just checking on his prizes.
Yeah.
One thing that Edmund's going to want to make sure about is that he doesn't have too many Rayquazas prized.
Yeah. All right, so we do see Rayquaza come down. We see he's going to play his hand down. Double Float Stone on the Keldeo. He does have a Bicycle.
Take that, Tool Scrapper.
So he's trying to play down as many cards as possible to Bicycle to draw into that Fire.
Yeah, that is why he was debating on which Pokemon to attach the Float Stone to. I would personally just put it on the Rayquaza. That's just my... Yeah, there you go. Good man, Edmund.
Well, he has an Ultra Ball, but he's a little hesitant. He would have to discard his other supporter, and he would bike for 4. So it depends on... Does he think it's such a desperate spot that he would, dig that deep? But looks like no, and he missed the Fire.
He should have.
It's easy to say that now.
Yeah, I guess hindsight is 2020, but I do personally believe he should have, just for the record.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird matchup. Ryan only has that one Rayquaza EX in play, and the Mr. Mime does block Volt, so we could see some strange situations sometimes where one player gets to a low prize count, and then the other guy plays an N and then knocks out the only Rayquaza with the fire energy. And sometimes it can become difficult to draw back into a Rayquaza and a fire right away, and then you might steal a turn back and take 2 more prizes.
Yes. Now, you see how the Dynamo became active? This is Edmund saying, all right, well, I do give up. I'm not going to have a very good turn. So if you're going to take a prize, please take it off of my Dynamo.
Yeah. And we see
Pokemon catcher here really puts Ryan completely in the lead, and that's putting things lightly.
Yeah. He's going to be able to take a 3-prize lead this turn with a Dragon Burst, another Chorus. He's going to draw, 10 cards here?
I'm not even going to count. All right? You can say whatever number you want. I'm just going to agree with you.
It's 10. 2 full benches. Yeah, he's going to try to get another Electric out, I would assume. And he's going to take a huge lead. But again, if Edmund can, go Rayquaza, Fire, and next turn, maybe he's got a shot.
And the thing is, even though he's going to have, he definitely needs to have Rayquaza Fire in, by the way. But even if he does do that, he's still not in good shape at all. He's going to have to hope that at some point Ryan stumbles. Yeah. If he does not, this is Ryan's game to win, or to lose.
Pretty much. I would say the person going first has a pretty big advantage in this matchup. Going first in general is a pretty nice advantage, but in a mirror match especially, whoever goes first gets to do everything first, gets to set up their electrics first.
Exactly, and with decks as fast as these, or at least as heavy hitting as these, you really do. The going first becomes exponentially more important.
Exactly. So we'll have to see how Edmund responds. It looks like he has an Ultra Ball, and I believe he has an N as well. So he could just kind of Ultra Ball for the Rayquaza N and hope to draw into the fire. And maybe we'll have that situation where Ryan misses a turn of Dragon Bursting.
Yeah, and not only that, but he does bring Ryan's hand down to a 3-card hand.
Yeah. He's going to try to disrupt him. And, we
is
have
that a Raikou? Okay.
Yeah.
Raikou, I like it because his opponent only has 2 electric in play, so he won't be able to return a knockout unless he finds another electric and has a lightning energy in his hand. So I do like this because it's going to put Ryan in a pretty tough spot. I actually think this is the correct play.
Okay. It'll be interesting because he does have that second Dynamo, but with an N to 3, sure, he certainly could prevent the Dragon Burst next turn.
Exactly. So
there we go.
I'm excited for this play because I think that it's got the most potential upside. I think it's got the best percentage chance at getting Edmund right back in this game and potentially even just blowing Ryan right out of the water.
Definitely. And if he could hit something like a Tool Scrapper, I don't know if he plays it or not, take that Float Stone off the Keldeo and prevent the option to rush in and retreat. Dynamo only goes to benched Pokemon, so that could be another way to prevent a Dragon Burst this turn.
Now you're asking for so much.
A Float Stone?
Please, man.
Tool Scrapper? He's got one, too.
I think he just drew one. Yeah. Oh, that's what you meant. Yeah, he did hit the Tool Scrapper, which does prevent the free retreat from the Keldeo.
Yeah,
so
this is a huge
3-card hand by Ryan is actually just 2 energies and an in.
Yeah.
So Ryan does not have a good hand whatsoever.
Edmund is, he's going to take a big advantage off of this. He's going to be able to Tool Scrapper. There we go. Get rid of that Float Stone.
That one, too. Why not?
Yeah. Yeah, you might as well, all right. He also has a catcher in his hand. He probably just wants to keep the Rayquaza active, but something he could do is catcher out Keldeo just to make sure it can't get Dynamoted too.
Uh-huh.
But it looks like he's just going to keep Rayquaza active. Volt
needs the top deck here.
Yeah. He's in a bad spot, but he does have the 2-prize lead still, so it's not so bad. He has a turn where he can do something.
Yes,
just sit back and use Tropical Beach.
You are right. He does have a turn where he can do something, but that will mitigate his advantage.
Yeah, for sure. This is a great play by Edmund to kind of even the score here. Raikou isn't really an offensive Pokemon as much as Rayquaza EX is, so eventually he might get overpowered, but if he can just slowly snipe off those electrics and leave Ryan with nothing, he can just kind of leave Ryan with a board where he just can't power up that one last Rayquaza to Dragon Burst for the win.
Exactly.
So that's going for a long game strategy here.
Yeah, that's his best bet here. And Now they're debating which side of the deck to cut. And he said, look, just have 2 decks, draw 2 cards at a time.
Oh. Which one's the top? All right, there we go.
Man, they really are friendly.
Yeah.
A little too friendly.
All right, so Ryan has not a good draw off that end of 3. He does have a Tool Scrapper. Interesting though, he plays 2 Tool Scrapper.
The fans are going nuts between every player.
I don't think that's for us, but it's okay.
Look, the fans are going nuts. All right.
Tool Scrapper!
The Tool Scrapper, the fans go crazy.
All right, so here is a Russian with Keldeo, no float stone though, so he can't retreat back. The Tool Scrapper was a big play. And Ryan also played the Tool Scrapper to get rid of the float stone on Edmund's Keldeo, so this might slow down a bit.
Yeah, Edmund does have a much larger hand. By the way, Ryan's Tropical Beach fetched him pretty much everything he needed.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah, well, I mean, he does have a new hand of 7 cards, but I don't believe that he's going to be short on resources this following turn unless he gets end.
Yeah, look, he's got an Ultra Ball, a Level Ball, a Dowsing Machine, a Juniper, everything he could want. Even an Electric, he doesn't even have to search for one.
Yeah, so now it's on Edmund. I do want to see him knock out another Electric. Okay, there's that end. Wow. That's I didn't think I saw an end, but that's perfect.
Yeah.
Now Ryan is once again on the back foot. Go figure. I guess I want to see a catcher on the Rayquaza if possible. No, there is not enough bench space for Rayquaza to come down here.
Yeah.
I just realized this.
This is kind of the problem with just using that less bench spot on the Raikou. Sure, he can knock out Electrics, but that Rayquaza is just going to build up energy, and there's nothing he can really do about it. So eventually he will get Dragon Bursted.
Floatstone was the very last card drawn by Edmund.
It's running hot.
Yeah, running hot himself, Mr. Hot Tub. And he's just going to shortcut here. He's assuming a Floatstone Russian. So this is just for the sake of saving time.
And another Electric goes down.
Electric number 2 does go down. That leaves only a single Dynamo in play for Ryan's Electric side of the field.
Yeah, and it looked like Ryan was going to run away with this game, but now Edmund is clearly in the
Dynamo
lead.
comes down, and Electric does come down for Ryan. And right away, Ryan comes right back with similar field to what he had last turn.
Yeah, he doesn't have a Floatstone, though. That's the big difference. His Keldeo is stuck in the active spot. If he can draw one here, just like Edmund did, and, retreat to the Rayquaza, Dragon Burst the Raikou, he'll go down to 1 prize. But still, Edmund, I would say he's in probably a favorable position here.
Absolutely, and the difference is that Ryan only gets to draw 3 cards, while Edmund did get to draw 5 last turn.
Yeah, the Floatstone is honestly all the difference here.
No Floatstone again, only 2 Lightning and an unknown card. He now is forced to attach the Lightning onto the active Keldeo to threaten retreating manually on the following turn.
Yeah.
And that is that for this turn for Ryan after a Tropical Beach.
Yeah, he's going to Tropical Beach. Fill his hand up to 7 again.
There's that Dowsing Machine Juniper again. So they really do want to make an appearance. It's just Edmund's being playing the role of the bad guy here.
Even though, Edmund is going to slowly whittle away all those Electrics, I think we're in a weird spot where Ryan is... Oh, wow, all 4 ends are gone for Edmund. Thank you, Ryan.
Good guy, Ryan.
But I think Edmund actually...
And the crowd goes wild. There's a Lightning Energy played.
Bolt. I think Edmund's going to end up losing this game. Basically, Ryan is just going to Dragon Burst this turn. He can't stop that. And then, what does Edmund do? He's going to get end, I think. Or even Ryan can just kind of stockpile things in his hand because he knows Edmund doesn't have any ends left.
Yep.
So he's just going to go down to 1 prize first, and then Edmund can respond, but then Ryan's just going to take the last prize. At least that's what it looks like.
Well, apparently you just figured this game out right now. We should tell him to go start game 2.
Yeah. All right, guys, pack it up.
Pack it up. Ryan, I actually believe you're just going to win this whole tournament. Call it a night, guys.
Hey,
Says Kyle Pooka.
And this is the finals. This is the winner gets all that stuff sitting on that table. They get the glorious trophy. We have a 15th anniversary Pikachu collection, 2 boxes of Plasma Freeze. We got a ton of prizes for this event, so there is actually a lot on the line. Even though this is a very friendly tournament, this means a lot. Yeah,
there's quite a bit more than what you mentioned, even.
Yeah.
So they're definitely playing for quite a bit of prizes, and as fun and relaxed as they are, they still realize that they do want to win here.
Yeah. So looks like Ryan is actually attaching the second lightning and manually retreating his Keldeo here.
You know, we actually forgot to mention the most important prize.
What's that?
Immortality.
An invitation to next year's Top Gun Invitational.
Yeah, and immortality, man. Immortality. He's going to go down in the record books, whichever one of these two players. Especially Edmund, by the way, he's stating, at least, that this is going to be his final tournament ever.
Yeah.
At least for the next year.
We'll see how that goes. Yeah, it's 2 out of 3, so this is only one game. The first player to 2 wins will win this tournament.
Ryan was counting for the chorus, and then he's like, all right, wait.
Yeah,
let's
10.
not pull a Crim here.
So, yeah, he is just loaded with cards at this point. 10 is a ridiculous amount of number. I don't care what card game you're playing. 10 cards in your hand is pretty good.
Yeah, even in Pokemon.
Yeah.
Go figure. Well, in Pokemon, it's only okay. 10 is probably the average number that you want to have in your hand.
We do see a max potion in Ryan's hand. That's probably not going to be too useful in this matchup, but interesting to note, he does have 2 Tool Scrapper and a max potion, so that means he may have to cut some things somewhere to fit that in. We'll see where that comes up.
Yeah, now I see that he is also powering up the Raikou EX to potentially have in case some miracle happens and the Rayquaza does go down on his following turn.
Yeah, well, it doesn't take much for the Rayquaza to go down. Just a Rayquaza and a fire. So
miracle.
Yeah, it's a miracle.
The miracle.
Not for Edmund. He's got it.
Mr. Run Hot himself.
But, yeah, the only thing is that Mr. Mime is going to block the bench damage for Voltbolt. So Ryan actually, he's going to need a catcher next turn. Or he needs to get another Dynamo out so he can respond with another Electric.
Fair enough. So Ultra Ball here gets him another Rayquaza.
He might be out of Dynamos. He did not get 3 knocked out. He hasn't played a Super Rod yet, so he's out.
Yeah, he is out of Dynamos, absolutely. I'm going to be interested to see if he decides to bench the Rayquaza. He says no, just Dragon Burst and takes 2 prizes.
Yeah, no need to. He knows Edmund has played all 4N. He can't disrupt him anymore unless he plays a Hooligan's Gym and Cass or a Dowsing Machine.
He's not Pooka, so I'm sure he doesn't.
I guess Dowsing Machine is slightly more likely than the Hooligans Gym and Cass, but I would like to see it.
I bet you would. All right, so Edmund now is forced to make a huge play here and still kind of cross his fingers. With that said, I think Ryan can even just show him his hand and say, look, let's move on.
I don't know. I mean, there's
a Fire Energy and a Rayquaza EX in his hand with only 1 Electric in play, though.
You know, if Edmund just gets a Rayquaza EX and Dragon Burst this turn and ends Ryan to 1, I think he's got it locked up. Ryan would need to draw both a catcher and a lightning energy to win.
I'm sorry, you said ends Ryan to 1?
Yeah.
Well, does he have a Dowsing Machine?
Never mind.
Yeah.
Well, I actually didn't see the catcher in Ryan's hand, so he still has to draw it. He does have a Juniper, though.
Fair enough.
I just totally forgot that they're all 4 ends in the discard pile.
Yeah, it's been a long day. It applies to you, too, not just me.
I'm so used to just being end to 1 that happens in every game.
Fair enough. All right, the Electric is looking buff. No, never mind. It's the computer search, actually. He's computer searching away his Electric.
So he's just kind of crossing his fingers at this point that Ryan doesn't have a catcher. But
Which Ryan doesn't, apparently.
Yeah. Another option is he has a Pokemon catcher of his own. He could catcher Ryan's Raikou, or maybe even the Electric.
The Electric would make more sense here.
Well, not really, since you could just attach to Raikou and then catcher and win anyway. But
fair enough, yeah. But that does force him to have an energy and a catcher.
Right.
Not just a catcher.
Maybe the catcher on the Raikou would make some sense. Force Ryan to have another Float Stone, which there are 2 gone already. And then also a Lightning Energy to Dragon Burst his Rayquaza. So some tough decisions ahead for Edmund here.
Yeah, and Edmund is a very smart player, so I'm sure he'll figure it out.
The national champion.
With Gothitelle.
What are you trying to say?
I'm just stating that Gothitelle's a Stage 2 deck.
All right, so we do have the energy here and a Juniper. Does he have the catcher?
There's that Dowsing Machine.
Dowsing Machine
and
for the Pokemon
he
catcher?
scoops his own cards up before Edmund does. So they're going to game 2.
All right. Ryan Sabelhaus, he has not lost a game yet.
Ryan Sabelhaus, undefeated, really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, Ryan Sabelhaus is undefeated.
He kind of have to be here.
No.
They were all single game. Well,
yeah, you can definitely.
Both these guys were undefeated,
this
actually.
has not been such a long day, man. Not that long of a day.
Long weekend, okay?
All right, so Ryan Sabelhaus is up a game. He's one game away from being the Top Cut Invitational champion of 2013. And, there was a lot of people that were stating.
He took one of his cards, look.
Where's that ducklet?
They swapped Mr. Mimes, I think.
Okay, so Ryan Sabelhaus is one of the couple of players who were kind of criticized at the beginning of the or when we first announced the Top Cut Invitational players. So he had a little bit to prove, in my opinion, here. Not necessarily to people in general, but to the naysayers. Everybody wants to kind of say, you know what, you doubted me, but I proved you wrong.
Yeah, and I think Edmund's kind of got something to prove too. I mean, sure, he won U.S. Nationals, but a lot of people like to say, yeah, so what, you won the big one. Prove to me that it wasn't a fluke. And I'm kind of glad both these guys got the opportunity to do that. Both guys had an insane run through 930 Masters or something at U.S. Nationals, and they meet again here in the finals of the Top Cut Invitational. It's pretty awesome.
Now, I know that you've already stated who each of these players have played against today, but can you please restate it?
Yeah, Ryan had to go through, I believe, the water pod with Sammy Yamato. Who was the other guy?
Sammy Yamato. Sammy? No. Oh, no.
Sammy Yamato.
Josh Jaywitz.
No. Igor.
Oh, okay, Igor.
He actually beat Igor, and then he beat Yamato.
Okay, and then Sammy in top 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
Edmund, on the other hand, he had to go through Jay Hornung, I think.
Okay.
His first round opponent was Jason Klasinski.
So Jason Klasinski into Jay Hornung into Jaywitz?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So Jason Klasinski, Jay Hornung, and Jaywitz for Edmund, and Ryan Sabelhaus had to go through quite a few stellar players himself.
I mean, they're all stellar players here.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. Is these are only 8 players, but I mean, come on, give me a break. When you have to beat these amazing players to get to the finals, it means so much.
This is the best of the best right here.
It truly is. It really, truly is. And they're showcasing it now. So a level ball does come down for Edmund on turn 1. That's 2 Dynamos. I would like to see a third one if I'm Edmund, and I'm excited to see if he does.
Yeah, it's strange. Normally you do need like 3 electric is that breaking point where you hit the critical mass of electrics where you can just drag and burst 180 every turn. But in a mirror match, 2 electric is normally enough. Especially that Edmund plays the Mr. Mime that blocks the Raikou strategy. 2 electrics might be just enough, but it never hurts to have a third one.
No, absolutely not. And I personally prefer having a third Dynamo in play just in case of any early game shenanigans.
Yeah. And we do see a Tropical Beach come out. He computer searched for that, and then he played an N. What do you think about the computer search for the beach?
I don't like it, honestly. I think computer search is too valuable of a card. I think you're going to be put in a lot of spots where you either need, like, say, a float stone or a fire energy or a backup Rayquaza. There's so many cards that you could potentially need at any point that I really like saving the computer search for a more important turn.
Well, I would agree with you in almost every other circumstance, but I think with the Rayquaza Electric, your priority is getting those lightning energy in the discard as soon as possible. He discarded a lightning with it, so it got a lot of value.
Fair enough. So we'll have to wait and see if he can maintain a consistent stream of cards, I guess, because he will absolutely need to do that in order to beat Ryan here.
They're doing some funny cuts here. I think Edmund put 2 cards on top of Ryan's deck. Ryan cut 1 card or something like that. These guys are really friendly.
Silly. They're too silly. All right, so Edmund's still looking for some more Pokemon. He doesn't just want to have 2 Dynamos in play. And that third Dynamo is exactly what I would have liked to see here. And I'd like to see a Tropical Beach, not a Thunder Wave this turn, Edmund.
No, he's going for the beach.
I know. You're a silly guy, Kyle.
Ryan put the 10 out there. He really wanted the Thunder Wave to happen.
two Dynamos from Ryan here. So Ryan kind of bounces right back. He's got a pretty solid hand. I believe I see a computer search. Oh, no, wait, he doesn't even play computer search. He plays Dowsing Machine.
It's all right, long day.
Yeah, so a Colress here for whoa.
N.
Oh, it is a long day. An N here for a brand new hand of 6.
Yeah, both players are going to shuffle in and draw cards to match their prizes. So both have 6 at the beginning. N is great at the beginning for a draw card, great late for disruption.
I wonder how much longer I'll be able to use the bad day or the long day excuse.
Well, we got like an hour left.
Yeah, well, hopefully the viewers don't mind. So,
the big thing for Edmund that turn, he did not get an attacker down. It would have been nice to have that down in case he gets end.
An attacker or a Keldeo. Keldeo would have been nicer too.
Yeah, but still a good start.
Absolutely, yeah. But absolutely, I would have preferred to see that just because it also lets him Tropical Beach for a few more cards.
Mm-hmm. So here is a level ball. Is Ryan going to go for the Mr. Mime here?
Mr. Mime would be the card that I would expect. I don't expect a 4th Dynamo, and I don't expect an Electric so soon.
So there is level ball, another one. He's going to grab an Electric.
By the way, this is each of these players' turn one. How sick is that? These guys have some very long and eventful first turns in both of these games, actually.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah. He's going to retreat to Mr. Mime. He's going to throw him out in the trenches, and then Tropical Beach, fill his hand up to 7.
Why do you think he retreated onto the Mr. Mime?
He retreated so that he could Dynamotor to Raikou next turn. He could just Dynamotor 2 energy to Raikou, hopefully, and then retreat the Mr. Mime for 1 energy. I don't think he wants a Dynamo get knocked out.
Does he have 2 lightning energies in his discard pile?
I don't think he has any, actually.
Yeah.
I didn't see any, but...
Which makes this play a little bit more weird, no?
You still want Raikou on the bench. He can't retreat twice in a turn. And I don't think he has bench space for the Keldeo anymore. He's going to want that to be a Rayquaza EX.
Fair enough.
He's planning with that in mind.
Now, the Keldeo does come down for Edmund, so that's going to be a key difference between these two players.
Yeah.
Edmund's going to have a Keldeo, and Ryan is likely going to be the only one with a Mr. Mime in play.
Yeah, look, I mean, we got the Keldeo Floatstone. Well, if you're Edmund, would you even take a Dragon Burst knockout here if you had one on the Mr. Mime?
Yes, I would. I understand that it's if I don't take the Dragon Burst knockout, what do I do? You know what I'm trying to say? If I don't do that, then I need to do a play that is almost equally as beneficial, which means that it's got to have to be more than a Tropical Beach for X amount of cards.
Yeah, and we'll see what he decides to do here. I'm not sure how many Lightning is in this card, but I think it's at least 2 at this point.
Edmund does have Lightning energies in his discard pile as opposed to Ryan.
He would need a second Electric in play plus the Rayquaza. He does have the Rayquaza in the fire.
The Electric seems to be the only card that's missing.
Yeah, I think he has an Ultra Ball. I'm not positive, but we'll see. We do see a Dynamotor, though. If he has a Catcher, he may Catcher out a Dynamo and Dragon Burst it for 60. Take the knockout that way.
Now, is that a Bicycle with a Professor Juniper still in play there?
Yeah, those have been played already.
Yeah, so he did play supported for the turn. I guess is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, he heard me. Moving down.
Tropical Beach.
Tropical Beach is there. Obviously not the ideal turn for Edmund.
Yeah. This is going to be the one big turn Ryan has to capitalize. It's going to take a lot for him to do it, honestly. He still doesn't have... Oh, there's a Tool Scrapper. That's a huge card.
Tool Scrapper on the Keldeo, but Edmund does have a large hand of 7, so he might be able to still shrug that off.
Yeah. I don't think Ryan has any Lightning in the discard pile, so it's going to be tough for him to pull off an attack this turn.
He actually manually attached to the Raikou, which tells me that he's not going to be attacking this turn.
Probably not. He could get a Keldeo and a float, or even just a Floatstone on Mr. Mime.
Yeah, a Floatstone on Mr. Mime plus a Lightning Energy onto his discard pile is really the only way to really do this, aside from a Keldeo.
Which would be a huge turn to Volt Bolt that Electric back there. He might get Dragon Bursted in response, but taking out Electric is probably a decent play here. Yeah,
his opponent does have 2 Dynamos in play, or 2 Dynamos in play. So I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not really sure how this game's going to play out quite yet. We'll have to wait and see for a couple more turns to really get a good idea.
These mirror matches with Rayquaza Electric can feel very, Dragon Burst, Dragon Burst, Dragon Burst, game over. But there is actually some complexity to it when both players realize that they don't just want to get into that war with Rayquaza EX back and forth.
I actually literally just blinked, and all of a sudden there's 3 Electrics in play. That actually just happened. I was like, well, there's only 1 Electric. What the heck?
Yep, there's 3 of them, but I don't think he can use any of the abilities.
They still look nice.
Oh, yeah.
They're still threatening.
Reverse foil, too.
Yeah, he's blinging them out.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of his cards are gold and such. We do have a bicycle. If he can hit an Ultra Ball here, that'd be nice.
He reminds me of my PTCGO account. Yep, blinging ain't easy, baby.
All right, we'll see what he gets off of this bicycle for 1. Ultra Ball discards 2 lightning.
That's 2 lightning in the discard pile. Finally, the Dynamotors will be able to take effect.
Yeah, he goes for a Rayquaza EX. Looks like he's deciding to just kind of build up attackers here.
So we still need to see a Floatstone here.
Yeah.
That's the missing piece of the puzzle currently.
Yeah, I don't think he's already played a supporter for the turn, so he won't be able to really do anything. He's wishing he could Dynamotor to his active,
but he can't, so he's instead going to just Tropical Beach for a couple of cards and pass the turn.
Yeah, and the advantage swings back to Edmund. He's going to be the first one with an opportunity to strike here.
Now, he just drew 5 cards with his Tropical Beach, and he got all the energy he's ever going to need. Now, Edmund has a Pokemon catcher off of Edmund would be really nice here. There it is. That Pokemon catcher does come down.
Speak of the devil.
Yeah, I feel pretty good about my reads. So he's going to be able to take 2 prizes off of this Raikou, and not only that, but he's also going to get 3 energy off the field.
Yeah, this will be huge. Get the first 2 prizes. He hasn't done it yet, though. He needs to get a Floatstone down. Otherwise, he won't be able to. Well, actually, he's got the Tynamo that can retreat. Duh.
Man, get out of here. Give me another co-commentator. This is getting embarrassing.
That's brutal. Yeah, this is going to be an easy Dragon Burst knockout then. He's got enough lightning in the discard pile already.
I'm going to get flamed by all the Pooka fanboys after that comment.
I'm going to go back through your world commentary and we'll see what happens.
Oh, that was perfect.
Yeah, we'll see.
My mom said so.
Yeah, she's really nice. All right.
Oh, man.
So he does have 2 electrics. Ryan politely puts the 2 lightning on top of Edmund's discard pile for him. It's like,
okay, so he's just doing that in order to. Why would he do that, actually?
Yeah, he needs a switch.
Yeah.
Maybe he didn't have 2 lightning in there. Maybe there's just 1. Yeah, just
did.
1. So he had to retreat the lightning into the discard pile.
Okay, wow. We miscounted the amount of lightnings in the discard pile. I think we just assumed there was still 2. But there isn't, which means he's going to have to Tropical Beach here? Really?
Wow.
Is this really just happening?
That's a huge swing, yeah. This is going to give Ryan the first 2 prizes. He has an Ultra Ball, he has a Rayquaza, and a Fire.
Yeah, well, and he's actually got a Pokemon catch. Yeah,
Oh.
He chooses to Pokemon catcher the electric, so maybe he's just going to bolt the bench.
He can't because of the Mr. Mime, but he is going to take out the active electric with a
4 energy on
4th lightning.
Raikou. Color me confused.
No, he doesn't really want to draw those anymore.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, so he can just he's going to attach to the Mr. Mime in anticipation of his active being knocked out, so that he can drop a Rayquaza EX, Dynamotor, and then retreat with the Mr. Mime. But yeah, strange that he decided to do that instead of taking the first EX knockout. He could have gone for the 2-2-2 knockout, 3 EX to win.
Yep.
But he's favoring taking out the electrics. We'll see if it works for him.
Super Rod by Edmund is still honestly just going to find a couple of electric evolution lines and a fire energy, which is not spectacular. It's just a use for the card.
Edmund testing the boundaries here. He puts the 3 cards from Super Rod on top of his deck and presents it for a cut. Makes Ryan shuffle his deck.
All right. I think I see an N in Edmund's hand.
Okay.
But then again, I've been wrong before. So Ultra Ball here, probably finding a Rayquaza or a Tynamo.
Yeah, he doesn't want to get caught with not enough electric in play.
Yeah, that makes some sense here. He's not in a position to be able to afford getting another electric knockout here.
Yeah, he can do the same thing Ryan just did and Dynamotor on to Mr. Mime, preparing for the knockout. But this is a favorable trade-off for him. He's going to be just 1 prize ahead.
Yeah, somehow, some way, these guys are. It's funny because we're going to say they're trading swings back and forth when in reality that's the exact opposite. It feels like one of them's about to swing and he's about to take the big advantage, and then all of a sudden he's like, well, I'm going to Tropical Beach for 3 here.
Yeah.
And then the other guy's like, yeah, this is my opportunity. Yeah, all right, I'll trop for 2.
All right, business is picking up now, though. The first Rayquaza, the Rayquaza war has happened. Edmund will respond with the second one, it seems like. And we're going to see who has the last Rayquaza here.
I guess that Super Rod might have come in handy a little bit later, like maybe even a single turn later.
Yeah. something that could happen is he could just run out of Rayquaza EX.
Yeah, you don't play an infinite amount of them. You only play 3 usually.
Yeah.
So if one of them happens to be prizing, you just don't happen to find it in time, it can definitely spell certain doom.
That and the fire energy. He doesn't have a fire yet. So he's going to need to get one. It looks like he's got an N. He's only getting 4.
Yeah, an N for 4 is not ideal. He still needs a single fire energy to be able to attack here.
But if he gets this, he is at a massive lead. Putting Ryan down to 3 cards. There's no energy or float stone on any of Ryan's other Pokemon. The Rayquaza EX is going to go down. And that almost seals up the game unless Ryan draws an incredible hand.
But if he doesn't get it, does he just lose?
He doesn't just lose, but it's obviously a very poor situation to be in.
All right, we'll have to wait and see. Is that a fire right away?
Yeah.
I guess we didn't have to wait for too long.
Yep.
Mr. Run Hot himself.
He's got a name to live up to, all right?
He's putting Pram to shame currently.
All right, so he does only need 2 lightning to knock out the Rayquaza EX because of the weakness.
So I'd like to see him retreat, then finally use his final Dynamotor onto the Mr. Mime.
Yeah, he's a smart guy. I think he'll figure it out.
No, I should go tell him. I don't think he's going to figure it out.
He got it already.
He heard me. So the Dragon Burst is going to get him down to 2 prizes, and with no energy in play and no attackers in play, it's looking pretty slim.
We do see a bicycle from Ryan, though, in his hand. He's got an awkward hand. He's got an Ultra Ball, a catcher, a Rayquaza EX, and a bicycle, it looks like. So if he wants to play the Ultra Ball, he'll have to discard Rayquaza EX, which could end up backfiring. He could run out of Rayquaza EX and lose.
Yeah, kind of what we mentioned about Edmund, but it applies to Ryan as well.
Yeah, so if he decides to Ultra Ball, it'll get him a bicycle for 4. His other option is to Rayquaza, maybe play a catcher. He could catcher up the Keldeo EX since it doesn't have a float stone. And then bicycle for 3.
Yep.
These are the tough decisions.
Keep going. I like your commentary.
Oh, thank you. Ryan, of course, is he's trying to make this tough decision. It really is tough because one turn either way can just swing the match. Your Pokemon can just get knocked out immediately once those 3 electrics are out. Dragon Burst does 180 every turn.
By the way,
a lot of pressure.
It's really important to note that Ryan chose, or when I say chose, I mean forgot to a Dynamotor onto the bench to Mr. Mime.
He couldn't actually. He needed to put 3.
It was a Dragon Burst onto a Rayquaza.
Ooh,
so he only needed 2. Yeah.
That may have been a mistake there.
Yeah, he just got really excited and said, all right, well, I'm returning your knockout.
Well, I did see him Dragon Burst J-Witz's Darkrai for 300, so he does have a taste for that.
He's
apparently.
got such fancy play syndrome. Oh, my goodness.
2 fire and 5 lightning.
Only Ryan.
Maybe his flare will come back to get him. He's going to go for a catcher on electric, and there's the bicycle.
Draws a fire energy and still has 1 card to go and gets an electric, which is not relevant at all.
No. So now he's in a strange position. If
he's got to be kicking himself here for not attaching that Dynamotoring onto the Mr. Mime.
Yeah. He still could have been in some trouble, but yeah, obviously he would have been able to Dragon Burst here.
Yeah.
Now he's got an interesting spot. I think he would like to bench Rayquaza EX here with the fire, but if he does that, Edmund just plays the catcher and he wins, basically.
Yep.
So he may just Dynamotor 2 to an electric and then Beach. And then when the Mr. Mime goes down, he can just promote the electric and then drop his Rayquaza and then hopefully play an N to shuffle Edmund's hand in. It's very tricky.
Now I know you know this, but I'm still going to ask you anyways. What's Electric's attack name?
Electric Ball.
God, it didn't even take you a second.
No,
not a single second. It's pretty good. You're the human encyclopedia when it comes to Pokemon.
Yeah.
And you have yet to fail me.
I love the game. What can I say?
That's all I have. He does Tropical Beach here and refills his hand.
He did not Dynamotor, though.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
Even though he's got 5 lightning in there. What do you think about that?
I think it's just a blatant misplay, and I don't think it was on purpose. I think he
mean.
probably thought he was. I said yeah, okay, that was pretty mean. But yeah, I just don't think I don't think he caught that. I think he assumed he was going to do it at one point, and then he got a little ahead of himself, and then realized it immediately when he looked at his discard pile.
Yeah, it is getting late. It has been a super long weekend.
Yeah, it really has. the LCQ started on Friday. Then we had day one of Worlds, which was really a marathon
went
for
till
some
like
people.
1 in the morning.
Yeah, you're telling me. I was there. And
Me too.
Yeah, and then today was almost as long.
Yeah. And, even the Worlds competitors, Ryan didn't have a very good showing at Worlds. But even the guys who just had to play through the Swiss rounds, that was a really long day, too. It felt like it took forever. It exhausted me, even though I had my traditional scrub out. But it's a story for another time. We do have an attachment and a dynamotor to Keldeo EX, and we're going to see a Dragon Burst knocking out Mr. Mime.
And he is down to a single prize, and he's about to tie this up.
He could, but this is dangerous territory going down to one prize. I can't tell you how many times that dreaded end to one is just leaves you with nothing. If he can get a Dragon Burst and an end to one, he may be able to pull this off.
Even if he gets that, that's not even necessarily enough. Like, he can just rush in and maybe attach a...
Edmund would have to get another attacker. He doesn't have one on the board. He's just got Mr. Mime and Keldeo. So if Ryan can knock out the active Rayquaza EX and Edmund down to a one-card hand,
yeah,
he's
you're right.
in great shape to win.
Yeah, you're actually right. My mistake. That would be his ideal play.
Yeah. We'll see, though.
I'm just waiting to see what Ryan does here and if Ryan can pull that off.
Right.
Easier said than done because he still needs that in.
Definitely. He also needs a Float Stone. Otherwise, he won't be able to retreat this turn.
Float Stone and that's about it.
Yeah, you need those two. We do see an Ultra Ball for the Keldeo EX. That's where your Float Stone would like to go, since you can just rush in.
Step one.
There's an N.
And so it needs a Float Stone.
Wow.
That's about it.
Yeah, if he can hit the Float Stone off of this, he may be one turn away from being our Top Cut Invitational champion. But if he misses, I think Edmund is, well, he hasn't tied it up quite yet, but he's going to be on a good path.
He's wondering if he wants the card on the top or the bottom. Seal your fate. Seal your fate, Ryan.
1, 2, 3. Does he get the Float Stone? Dowsing Machine
the
works
top
too.
card will be the... Nope, no Float Stone. No
No.
Float Stone. Only an Ultra Ball with 2 energy cards.
All right, now if Edmund gets... Well, it depends on who Ryan leaves active. I think he's going to Dynamotor 2 onto Keldeo and rush in, since it's tougher for Edmund to get the knockout there. So now if Edmund draws the Float Stone, he wins. Or if he has an energy and a catcher, he'll also win.
Yeah. This is Edmund's opportunity to really take this to Game 3. He's only got a 1-card hand, though.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, he can Tropical Beach for 7.
Right, which
6
is exactly
or
what
so.
Ryan's going to do this turn. But, the bottom 2 cards were Float Stones. Nice cut.
Yeah. Must be nice.
All right. So this is going to be the big turn for Edmund. How hot is he going to run? Is he going to get that Float Stone off the 1 card?
He would become a legend in the Luxac community.
Do they have forums?
Prem happens to be the headmaster of the institute here.
All right, what is it? He's taking a peek. He does get to draw one for the turn as well.
That looks like a whiff.
He's squeezing it. Oh, it's
the Float Stone!
No! Oh, no! You got to be kidding me.
The Float Stone for the last prize. That's it. They go to Game 3.
He has been promoted to admin of the Luxac forums.
He is this close to dethroning Michael Cramwell. Seriously, he's about to give him the boot.
You got to give that a round of applause. Give me a break.
Congratulations to
Next card was a
Juniper. Going to
Juniper.
Game 3. He's really having fun with this. He understands how.
I can't even believe that.
Unbelievable,
That's
man.
amazing.
This is the guy that actually made the misplay and got himself down to a 1-card hand with Gothitelle only, assuming he had a Tropical Beach in play, and then bailed himself out with a top deck Juniper when everything was on the line at U.S. Nationals.
What more could you ask for? That was an epic game, too.
Ryan's got to be having the memories, just like the flashbacks, just like streaming through his head right now.
Oh, well,
How
we'll
can
see.
this guy keep consistently pulling this off?
It's all coming down to this one game here to decide who's going to be the 2013 Top Cut Invitational champion, joining the ranks of Jason Klaczynski and Sugiyoshi Yamato. Who's going to be the third name on the list?
You have legend number 1, Jason Klaczynski, legend number 2, Sugiyoshi Yamato. Can one of these two imprint their names with such incredible peers? I guess that's the best way to put it.
Yeah. I don't know. Right now, who do you think is going to win? Oh, there's the Duskull.
Duskull Pass. Duskull Pass. I think it's just too hard to bet against Edmund.
Yeah.
Edmund is got the lucky hand right now. He's the national champion. He's got that psychological advantage over Ryan.
Maybe that the float stone off the end of one, maybe that's got Ryan reeling now.
Wouldn't that have you reeling, honestly?
I would expect it from Edmund.
I've played against Pram too many times, Edmund. Relax.
Yeah. But, I'm going to say Ryan gets his revenge here. He's going first. He's got a big advantage.
You're taking the safe way out. That's
No,
the
man.
easy way out here.
I want to see this series get tied between these two guys. Ryan gets his revenge.
There is no easy way out.
We'll see.
That was a Rocky reference. We haven't even had our quota, met our quota of Star Wars references tonight.
Nah, we'll get there.
Yeah, we're slumping, man.
We got a whole game left. Something to keep in mind, there is a time limit, the 75 minutes. I think there's probably about 20 minutes left. So
Yeah, there's something like 20, 25 minutes left.
I hope the game completes.
That's plenty of time, honestly, for these two decks.
Yeah.
Like
Depends on how much they joke.
Yeah. We've also seen how unless they stumble, which they clearly have, but unless they stumble, they really just start breezing through these turns after the first couple of turns.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see if we get another triple Dynamo start. That has been both players have done that turn one both
Now,
games.
no matter what, this is absolutely going to be the final game of the Top Cut Invitational.
Yep.
So we're glad for those of you that have joined us. We're glad that you have joined us, and we hope that you've enjoyed the stream so far. We understand that there's been some good matches and some bad ones. That's just the way the ball bounces sometimes. But hopefully, no matter what, you guys have enjoyed yourselves here, and we thank you guys for joining us.
Yeah, something I just want to. I don't think we've, put enough emphasis on this. There are two Radial decks in the finals. This deck did not have a very good showing at the World Championships. A lot of people felt like this deck kind of died when Plasma Freeze came out. With the Plasma Curum just kind of finally put the dirt on the grave for Radials.
Yeah.
But no, it's their finals matchup.
A lot of players were actually testing the Rails deck coming into the World Championships. They all knew that it was going to have some pretty solid matchups across the board, and that's something that you just can't take lightly.
Yeah. And also, I want to say...
P.S. Triple Dynamo.
Yeah, well, I'm not even surprised. That's standard at this point.
It really is.
I just want to say that Mr. Mime is a card that really didn't see much play heading into Worlds. I don't think many people played it at Nationals, at least not in the U.S. And at Worlds, Mr. Mime has just been in a lot of the top decks. Jason Kaczynski played it in his Worlds winning deck. We're seeing both players use it in their Radial decks. So Mr. Mime is kind of a cute little tech here that is
it's
really made a difference.
It's extremely good against two of the top decks in the format.
Yep.
So that goes a long distance, and there we see a first Dynamo from Edmund. But yeah, that goes a long distance, and really it mitigates a lot of the damage that both Darkrai and Kyurem can do.
Uh-oh, Celestial Roar.
He hits one energy, which is more than I've hit in my lifetime with that stupid attack.
Well, that is a very bad turn for Edmund. He did not have a supporter. Only one Dynamo in play. This is not good. Ryan could potentially Dragon Burst this turn, knock out the Rayquaza. This could be a short game 3.
Yeah. Let's hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But you are right that could definitely happen because Edmund's start is not ideal. He's only got one Dynamo in play even.
Yeah, now Ryan has a Juniper here and 3 Lightning Energy, actually.
With that Juniper, that's probably exactly what he's going to want to do. Maybe just attach one and...
He's debating on where to put it. If he puts it on the bench Rayquaza, then he'll just need an Electric and a Float Stone, and he can Dragon Burst. If he puts it on the active, he needs 2 Electrics to get the knockout. So he's going to attach to the active and just think, all right, I play so many Level Balls and Ultra Balls, I'll probably be able to get 2 Electric into play.
I would have just Junipered.
Nah.
I like gambling.
I don't think there was a right or wrong play there.
That is 1 Electric, and we need to see one more here in order to secure this knockout.
Yeah, we do see Tropical Beach come down. Both players are using that.
If the Tropical Beach came down, that tells me that he's likely looking to maximize he's assuming he's got an electric.
He's going.
Maximize a bicycle, maybe. I'm not sure, or he might just have the Tropical Beach and just doesn't have anything.
Yeah, I think he just doesn't. He doesn't have the second electric, and you don't want to Dragon Burst for 120 because, well, you can just get
Pokemon Catch Run to the Dynamo. I like this attack.
Ooh.
It does give your opponent the opportunity to return knockout onto your Rayquaza, but he's still not going
turn.
to have any. He's still not going to have any Dynamos in play.
He's got
At
the
least not
fire.
currently.
This could be an opportunity for Edmund to get some cards out of his prizes and get some momentum going. He doesn't have any Dynamos though, like you said.
Regardless, I still like this attack just for what it's worth. Knocking out this Dynamo does slow down Edmund, and it at least makes sure that you had some sort of a relevant turn and didn't just have to Tropical Beach there.
So now we're 5-4 in prizes, but prizes aren't always the best indicator for who's winning in a Pokemon game. Board position is far more important, and we'll see if Ryan can get more Electrics in play to respond to this Rayquaza EX.
So here's a Super Rod from Ryan. He shuffles in a Lightning Energy, which he doesn't want to do, but unfortunately he had to, and a Fire Energy and a Rayquaza EX.
Yeah, what do you think about Edmund's decision to take the Dragon Burst instead of, maybe just promoting Mr. Mime and using Tropical Beach?
I would have taken the Dragon Burst too. I think you want to take a couple of prizes, maybe get yourself out of this hole that you've kind of been dug into.
Yeah.
And maybe your opponent will stumble. And if your opponent does stumble, then these two prizes will not be in vain.
Yeah, and think about what Ryan would have needed to get a Dragon Burst in response. So he doesn't even have a Rayquaza EX on board. He's only got one Electric, so he would have needed Electric, Rayquaza EX, Fire, Floatstone. That's a lot to have.
I mean, it's definitely doable, but it's not something that I would bank on.
Yeah, I mean, you just kind of take the risk there. Take the knockout. Maybe you buy yourself a turn now to get to use Tropical Beach where you wouldn't be knocked out.
Did he Dynamoto 3 times, or did he attach one manually from his hand?
He attached one.
Did he? No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he attached.
No, because it just he put it right back in his discard pile. I think he meant to Dynamoto a third time, and then he's like, oh, wait, I can't Dynamoto this third time. And then,
well, no harm done either way. Only 2 energy in play.
Hey, man, I'm just
no double attach here.
I'm just trying to show that I'm on the ball. All right? See that? These eyes, they don't miss anything.
All right, we have a level ball. A Dynamo is hitting the board for Edmund. Did he get a supporter, though? He hasn't played one yet. He may have to just use Tropical Beach once again.
I would like to see at least another Dynamo come down. Otherwise, even the Keldeo could take a knockout on this Dynamo. And that's definitely not something you want to see happen.
He is going to put a Floatstone on his Rayquaza EX and retreat to preserve the energy.
This is not looking good for Edmund.
No, he's going to have to Tropical Beach here. Fill his hand up to 7 and hope that Ryan just doesn't have a Pokemon catcher this turn.
I do feel bad for Edmund that we haven't been able to see a good game out of him here.
Game 2 was pretty good.
I'm at Game 3. Yeah, this third and final game, we haven't been able to see his deck really in full, in all its glory. But Ryan has been firing on all cylinders, so to speak.
And Edmund tosses out 2 Lightning for Ryan to take with Dynamotor. Funny thing is, Edmund, he publicly stated going into Nationals he didn't even have a deck. And he just showed up and took his friend's cards and won Nationals. Same thing here. He didn't have a deck coming into this tournament. He borrowed this from a friend.
And here I thought he was just play testing and decided on this
on
this bad boy. There's a Pokemon catcher onto the Rayquaza EX that's going to be take away not only his only energy in play, but also the Floatstone, which gave him the free retreat.
That's huge. That might seal up the game for Ryan, honestly. He's going to get these 2 prizes off of the Dragon Burst. And now Edmund only has 1 Dynamo. So at best, he can get 1 extra energy in play. Not enough to respond to this Dragon Burst. So he's going to fall down at least, Ryan's going to get to at least 2 prizes by his next turn.
Yeah, now Edmund was not in good shape at all to begin this, or to end his last turn. But this kind of made it go from bad to worse.
Right.
And now the writing isn't necessarily, completed, but the fat lady has not sung yet, but she's kind of preparing her vocal cords. That's what's going on. Drinking hot water.
Fair enough. All right. So, what can Edmund do here to win?
N is a really big, important role player.
That's usually a good card.
Yeah. When in doubt. And so, but he's going to have the Tropical Beach again, man. This is just really unfortunate.
Not looking good for Edmund. I see the dowsing machine in Ryan's hand.
Yeah, the dowsing machine does mean that the Pokemon catcher will be able to knock out another Rayquaza, get rid of more energies in play, and get himself down to a single prize necessary. So,
looks like
not looking good for Edmund.
The writing may be on the wall for poor Edmund here. So it looks like, Ryan, he's put an extra energy on the Keldeo EX so he can rush in and retreat for next turn.
Yep.
He only needs 2 to Dragon Burst and Mr. Mime, but he also has Dowsing Machine for Pokemon Catcher.
Yeah,
so
for those of you that are confused, he actually just basically retreated, then Dynamoted. He just kind of did a little shortcut.
Yeah, he's got 3 Electric in play, so he can get 3 energy from his discard pile to a bench Pokemon.
Exactly.
And still attach for the turn. So that's 4 energy attachments for a turn.
So now Edmund is going to lose his Rayquaza one more time. He's going to get end himself, actually.
Ouch.
Yeah, so now ending your opponent is pretty cool when you're in Edmund's shoes. Getting end by your opponent, not so hot.
This is a situation where end can almost feel unfair because
feel unfair? The card is unfair, man.
Let me finish, all right?
All right, go for it.
All right, well, Edmund, he just didn't have anything in the opening turn, so he was forced to take a knockout. And then his bad hand is just compounded by the fact that now he's just going to have to shuffle in and draw 4 from the end. I mean,
definitely not almost unfair.
Yeah,
that's absolutely unfair.
All right.
So let's see. Edmund needs to see first of all a supporter, but also float stones and electrics and Rayquazas and fire energies. That's about it.
He needs to run really hot this turn.
No, this is hotter than the sun for sure.
Oh yeah.
I know that's his favorite saying. I'm running hotter than the sun, but he's got to really prove it now.
He needs a second electric, a Rayquaza EX, a fire, a float stone, and probably an end to 1.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Just 5 cards off an end to 4.
Might not be necessary. But everything else, definitely.
Yeah. Just 4 or 5 cards off of an end to 4.
Rayquaza and 2 lightnings go back to the deck. I thought he had 2 Rayquazas in the discard pile, but apparently not.
Strange, but if he still has enough lightning, I guess it's not a big deal. He has a Juniper in his hand. Puts down the Raikou. Doesn't really do anything at this point. But
I don't mind it, I guess, but he's got to get it all in this 7-card hand. He didn't have any of it to end his.
Yeah, it comes down to this Juniper. He's got to at least knock out an electric on the bench and get a Tool Scrapper this turn to take away that float stone. Otherwise, Ryan Sabelhaus is going to win this tournament.
Yeah, now Edmund has Ultra Ball, but I don't see a fire energy. I definitely don't see a fire
atrocious.
energy. Yeah.
What do we go for here? I don't know.
We go for the handshake, man.
Well, he's going to play it out. He's a champion, okay? He's not going to give up.
He is actually a champion. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. If he has a bicycle, maybe he could still work some magic.
Yeah, I didn't see a bicycle, but if he does, then that definitely would help. He doesn't even have a Rayquaza.
Ooh.
He's actually Ultra Balling away Rayquaza.
Yeah, this is kind of thrown in the towel at this point. There is almost no way he can win at this point with no Rayquaza EX in play. I think he might be going.
Oh, he's going for the Dynamo strategy? No, he can't even
passes. Do that. And I think we have a new champion.
He's holding on to a die for dear life.
Oh, is he going to Electric Ball? Is he going to? Oh.
He's just going for the largest Dragon Burst in the history of the game.
We're doing 180. How much HP does Dynamo have?
40. All right. You ain't tricking me.
Tool Scrapper's his own float stone. Plays another one. Retreats. Dragon Burst. Tropical Bee. Celestial Roar.
Dragon Burst for 60. The Dragon Burst for 60 damage. That is it. Edmund Kuras goes down in 3 games to Ryan Sabelhaus. And Ryan Sabelhaus is the 2013 Top Cut Invitational champion.
Congratulations to Ryan.
Yeah. Wow.
He's a guy I've gotten to know a little bit better. He's a great, great guy. Obviously a world-class player, and I'm very happy to see him win here. He's never had like a big win. He's won a regional championship, second at nationals, but now he's got his name in the record books. Top Cut Invitational champion.
I really like it. I think that's when we made these, this list of 8 players, we really wanted to showcase these up-and-coming players,
right.
And we really wanted to see Edmund Kuras. We wanted to see Ryan Sabelhaus. These 2 specific names do well. Now they ended up doing extremely well and spectacularly even, and actually became both finalists. And I'm glad to see that one of them joined the legendary ranks of Sugiyoshi Yamato and Jason Klaczynski.
And, I mean, hats off to Edmund. He played like a champion for sure. Just fell a little short this time. Ryan got his revenge, but both of these guys clearly are the cream of the crop in the Pokemon TCG.
Absolutely. And I know we've said this a few times now, but Thank you guys very much for watching. This has been an incredibly fun event to run in the short period of time that we did have. And it looks like we barely made it under the time limit. So
they're starting to shut the lights down.
Yeah, couldn't be happier about that.
And
we would like to thank our sponsors one more time, I guess.
Yeah, just one last shout out to our sponsors, High Tide Games in Maryland. If you live in the Maryland area, go check that store out. They are awesome. They have supported us a lot. Legacy Cards, check out that card shop. They helped us out a lot with this tournament with prizes. Well, we'll be definitely linking them a lot. They did a lot of good for us.
Yes, they did.
So please go show your support for them because they supported us. Also, everybody who donated prizes. I can't remember all of their names, but everybody who donated something, thank you so much. You made this tournament that much more special. And thanks to everybody who watched. This is a really special event for us. It's really grown into something bigger than we thought it could ever be. And
absolutely.
Yeah.
Seriously. From our very humble beginnings in like the one-day plan Top Cut Invitational.
Yeah, I know you guys can't see it, but there are just tons of people crowded around this table, and just awesome to see how passionate people are about Pokemon.
Yeah, it truly does mean a lot to us, and we enjoy Pokemon just as much as you guys do, maybe even more.
I would say more.
You think so? All right, well, we really do enjoy the game a lot. We enjoy the fans of the game. We enjoy the fans of the Top Cut. And we, on behalf of Michael Pramawat, Ben Potter, Drew Holton, Kyle Sucevich, and myself, we couldn't thank you guys more for this opportunity, and we hope to be able to do this again in future years.
Of course.
So I guess now we sign off. Do you want to do an interview with Ryan Sabelhaus?
Yeah, maybe we'll get him in here.
Yeah, all right. Well, before we sign off, we're going to do a short interview with the champion. Let me go get him. I'll be right back.